Hey there, and today I want to continue to move outside of my regular comfort zone and talk about things that I wouldn't normally do on this channel. I first started doing this last year when the third season of Bridgerton was coming out, and people seemed to enjoy it, so I figured I'd tap into my nostalgia and have a look at a franchise that I really enjoyed over a decade ago, but that I well and truly fell out of over the years. We're talking about Downton Abbey, as the trailer for the third film, Downton Abbey the Grand Finale, which is the third film in the Downton Abbey trilogy that picked up where the TV show left off and is serving as, the name would suggest, the finale of the franchise for good, just dropped. It's a bit of a melancholy and bittersweet feeling to know the franchise is going to be ending for good soon, and so I figured I'd take a look. It's been a long while since I first watched Downton Abbey. Pretty sure I watched it when it was first airing season 1 on TV back in 2010 or so, and so I have a lot of fond memories surrounding the franchise. I'd always been into period TV shows and films. My parents were the type to instill that sort of thing in me. Pride and Prejudice, both the 1995 miniseries and the 2005 film, both of them masterpieces. Hell, if there's been a Jane Austen adaptation that's come out, there's a good chance I've seen it, except for the recent Persuasion with Dakota Johnson. Ugh, no thanks. Then you've got stuff like Poirot, or Miss Marple. Bridgerton's up there too, same with Sherlock Holmes. I love the modern one, but I really love all the ones set in the 1800s. Enola Holmes, more recently, hell yeah. Hell, you can even dive further back in time. Old-timey shit is my jam. And so Downton Abbey was everything I was looking for back then, and in my eyes still holds up today. Does it wank the upper class a bit too much and make them seem like a necessary linchpin for society and culture? Yes. Does it present servants as low-class plebs who should be grateful for their opportunities? Also yes. However, it does have this gorgeous charm about it that well and truly sucked me in. Seasons 1 through 3 are peak. Peak period drama. Peak war drama, peak romance, peak everything. Yes, just yes. Excellent, well-constructed character arcs. It's well shot with a beautiful score and great acting for the most part. There are a few goofy story stumbles here and there like with anything, but for the most part it's just epic. That was when I was the most invested in the show and cared the most about what was going on. Then at the end of season 3 they killed off the lead Matthew Crawley and my interest was shattered, and I dropped out during season 4 as they attempted to introduce a bunch of different men to replace him. I needed my time to mourn, so I ended up quitting and only picked it back up this February because my girlfriend wanted to watch it, and so I had to sit there pretending like Matthew and Mary were going to have a happy ending after all. Whoops. I soldiered through though and even watched the remainder of the seasons to see what I'd missed. Season 4 was honestly still a little rough for me, and whilst things did improve the longer they went, they also did a couple of storylines that just felt repeated. And on top of that, I just never cared about what's-his-face. Henry? That felt rushed and out of nowhere. I just did not care about him one bit. Then I got cracking with the movies, and I will say, the movies were a lot of fun. Although, the premises could be a little bit goofy, especially the first one which released in 2019. A lot of it's your stock standard Downton Abbey fare, with the royal family coming to stay at Downton, and things needing to be perfect, causing chaos both upstairs and down. Where things started to go massively insane is when Tom Branson becomes a superhero, pretty much. Beating up an assassin who's trying to take out the king, as well as falling in love with a lady's maid who's the secret heir to a prominent house and a large fortune, and somehow managing to save the marriage of the Princess Mary and her husband. Yes, it very much becomes the Branson show right there at the end, and it is a little bit silly, but it was fun too. It did well for itself both critically and commercially, with Rotten Tomato scores of 84% and 94% for audiences and critics, and grossing $194 million off of about $20 million. Not too shabby if you ask me. The second one was less overtly goofy, although it still had its moments. There's a film being made in the Abbey, whilst Robert's also dealing with the question of who his biological father actually is, when doubts are shed upon it by a French aristocrat whose father had an affair with Violet. The response was equally good for this film, an 86% critical score and a 97% audience score, which is an improvement on the first film, but it did far less business at the same time. It grossed $92 million off of $40 million, which is about $100 million less at the box office for a film that was twice as expensive to make. I don't really know what happened there, but it was a shame because I think it was a really good movie and deserved quite a bit more. Suffice to say though, the quality of these films has reinvigorated my hype for the franchise and had me looking forward to the final chapter immensely. So at long last, this brings us to the third and final film, whose trailer has just released. People are excited for this one, it seems. The trailer dropped on the 2nd of June and has in the meantime racked up about 10 million views, which is not too shabby at all. So not much else for it but to break it down. First up though, there's a little blurb that usually comes along with the trailer. It reads, Downton Abbey the Grand Finale follows the Crawley family and their staff as they enter the 1930s. As the beloved cast of characters navigates how to lead Downton into the future, they must embrace change and welcome a new chapter. My god, are we seriously only at 1930 in this timeline? I remember the early days would breeze through the years no problem, but now everything's going so slowly. It's funny to see how much everyone keeps aging, and yet they're trying to sell us on this super condensed timeline. But yes, the trailer. let's get going. We start off the trailer following the main family as they do a power walk at the races. They on the track? Is that a normal thing that people do? I'm not cultured enough to have ever attended an upper crust horse racing event, so I wouldn't really know. Robert's out there looking like an undertaker walking the coffin out to the hearse though. I love the tales and all that, but the ensemble makes or breaks it. He really just does look like a funeral attendant. The other two men, not so much, but Robert, yes. We then get some close-ups of the main family members. Notably absent once again is Mary's husband Henry, and he doesn't even seem to appear on the cast listing. The first movie he wasn't around until the very last second. The second film he doesn't even appear, and they tease that there was strain in the marriage from his frequent absences. Are we going to get a Downton divorce in the grand finale? I know from what I've seen online that there's a lot of people hoping for something like that to occur, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Just before the theme song kicks in, we have Carson apparently announcing for the races and welcoming the crowd to 1930. So I guess this is a New Year's Day race or something. Also, how does Carson somehow manage to find himself in this sort of situation? Doesn't feel like something he'd want to be doing at all. The intro theme then kicks in and my nostalgia all comes flooding back, and we cut to what seems to be the streets of New York City at night, which looks absolutely awesome, and we witness what's-his-face, the actor guy from the second film who ended up with Thomas, performing on Broadway, I assume. I honestly thought that he and Thomas had a nice little ending for their story in the second film. I'm not sure what much else you could do with them in this one. I guess that part of the story is going to be set in America this time, and yeah, I suppose that's why you'd bring them back, but I hope it's for nothing more than a wholesome farewell. There's no need for an in-depth storyline or anything like that, just a fun supporting role. We have Mary trying on a dress with dialogue from Edith saying, "You'll be a sensation." So what's going on here? Is she going to America? What for? Post-divorce holiday perhaps? All I hope is that if that is the case, they don't try to force some romance arc into the movie. It's honestly too little, too late in that regard. That's one way to clog up the final film. We then have her getting out of the car at some gathering complete with a huge press presence. So what's going on here? Is she meant to be famous? Did lords and ladies get mobbed like this back in the day? Just rather confused by it all. Then it's back over to Downton where Robert's getting out of his car and looking at the house in reverence. Okay, so are they moving out of the house for good now? Did he lose it yet again? Or are they simply downsizing because the cost of running it's becoming way too high for the modern era? Either way, the way the trailer frames everything and the way they're behaving in the scenes that set outside the house, it makes me pretty certain they are giving it up. On top of that, they have that shot of the portrait of Violet with Mary staring at it looking all sad. It's a bit bittersweet, but at the same time, it feels like they have been on the brink for years, so it's not like it's some huge plot twist either. It's just kind of funny at this point, to tell you the truth. We have some shots of Robert, Cora, Bertie, and Edith dancing. Man, I gotta say that I just love dancing scenes in these types of shows/films. There's something about how fun and elegant it is. Don't really recall all that much dancing in Downton Abbey before. I mean, it happens, but it's not like you're watching Bridgerton or Pride and Prejudice or something else, where the dancing scenes are some of the most crucial for character interactions and development of story. I realise they probably won't be used in that way here either, but it is still nice to see. Paul Giamatti's back and he's looking better this time in terms of his styling. From what I remember last time, his character had a horseshoe bald spot combined with dark hair and he didn't look all that good. Here he has a little bit more hair and it's all much lighter, which is just a better look for the character all round. He and Isabel are together and clapping at something incredible that's happened. But what? Who knows really? Probably something like an impressive dance/song maybe? They seem to be at some sort of party. Is this going to be in the UK or is it going to be in America? Are they all going to America? I have so many questions and so few answers as of right now. We cut over to Mrs. Hughes, Mrs. Patmore and Daisy looking shocked and excited about something that's likely been said to them. Seemingly something positive, so maybe they're not losing the house? Or maybe they're getting to keep their jobs? Who even knows at this point? Carson seems rather happy too. Actually, the more I think about it, it can't be they're losing the house, right? It would be a slap in the face and kind of kill the vibe of the entire show and the films where they continue to persist against the odds. I would expect that either they're moving out and turning it into some sort of open house type of thing, or perhaps Robert and Cora are going to be moving somewhere else and leaving Mary in charge of the big house. Really, there's a lot of possibilities. The next shot of note is Anna doing what seems to be a happy cry and then Bates tipping his hat to Mary standing in front of a car. I would suspect that this means the Bates are going to be moving on with their lives now. I mean, don't they have a kid and everything? Being away at a different house all day and late into the night is probably not ideal, even for those days. And didn't they want to buy a pub or something? Can't remember if they even did that or not. Did those plans fall through? My memory's murky. We have Mary walking through an empty room. Is this going to be in London, New York? Is she the one who's moving away? Feel a bit strange considering her arc of becoming the next soul of Downton Abbey, but you never know. And then the trailer ends with a shot of them all gathered together and Robert kissing the house goodbye. But it also doesn't seem that sad. It seems melancholy, but still a bit happy. Maybe hopeful. Man, this trailer's gotten me excited. It has spoiled almost nothing. It's pretty much just aura farming and building up that hype train for September. Excellent. although hopefully there is a trailer later on that gives us a bit more, but for a first look, this is very good. And so that brings us to the end of the trailer, and there's nothing else to say other than these have all been my opinions, and I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of the Downton Abbey trailer? Has it gotten you hyped for the movie? Maybe not. I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.